I'm Rob Dyke. I work for a company, Tactics 4. We do open source solutions and services for healthcare organisations. I'm here with some colleagues working on a project that we began at the last hack day of getting rid of paper, where we were trying to get rid of lists of patients written out that were handed physically from one clinician to another at handover time. So we were trying to get a patient list and do safe handover of information. We've now really kind of like taken a few steps back from that, and our big, hairy, audacious goal is there are questions that people answer, and at the moment they have questions on paper and answers on paper. We want to make all of that digital.
Right.
And it was interesting in the presentations that there were lots of projects that were basically around, I want to ask some questions and I've got to get some answers and I want to do some processing with it. So we want to digitize that set of interactions, and that's what we've been working on since the last hack day with some better code over the last couple of weeks, and we brought it here today to see if we can take it further.
So the obvious question from an outsider point of view is, why hasn't that not been done before?
Well, I think the focus of the National Programme for IT of 11 years and £13 billion was not about certain things that were like this, these sorts of bits of paper. The National Programme gave us some very good big things like NHS mail, which is a really good idea. It gave us the N3 network, so we could have a nice walled garden set of communications between trusts and other providers of care. It gave us some administration systems which helped hospitals account for and bill for their activities, but it didn't do things like getting rid of the paper. So I don't know quite why it hasn't been done, other than to say perhaps the focus on some of the systems wasn't right, and the focus was on big administration delivered by big IT. And I think really over the last few years, certainly as the internet has really matured, open source has got much more widely adopted just as a practice rather than as a thing itself. Openness and being open, sharing collaborative in development of things, and picking up the other zeitgeisty terms like agile and Git and social coding, all those sorts of paradigms have now enabled us to kind of put together rooms of people like this who want to get on and just do something, highlight the art of the possible in a very short period of time, and do it for love and not money.
How difficult is it, once you've actually got a prototype that you're working on, to actually get a trust to take it out?
I think there's a number of blocking issues with getting things into trusts, and if I usually enumerate them as being political, social, legal, economic, and in no way technical. Right. In a sense, there are political, social, economic, legal problems, and there are only technology solutions. Different trusts will have different attitudes to how they will approach their IT. Certainly trusts that have got maybe a big Cerner implementation have this one system to rule them all frame of mind. Other hospitals, depending on their profile in terms of their money or the size of their patient group or where they are in the country, they maybe have lots of tiny things and they work hard to stitch them together. But getting through to the senior people the very senior people has been hard. And the recent efforts by eHealth Insider to set up the Chief Clinical Information Officer, to have someone who can be that guardian from a clinical perspective, rather than it being IT decisions made by a trust IT director and a finance director, actually get that real clinical involvement. So through the CCIO Leaders Network, we are able to highlight things like NHS Hack Day, the Handy Health programme, which I'll talk to you some more about. Yeah. But being able to say to them, look, there are new ways of doing things, and openness and agile and events like this have created stuff that is usable. It's certainly no worse than what you've got already. Yes, and
exactly.
Depending on your risk attitude, you should really give it a go.